नमो नमः। नवमः पाठः सूक्तयः। अयं पाठः मूलतः तमिलभाषायाः तिरुक्कुरल् नामकग्रन्थात् गृहीतः अस्ति। This lesson is originally taken from the language Tamil's a scripture or maybe a composition called Tirukkural, which is written in the Tamil Bhasha, Tamil language. अयं ग्रन्थः तमिळभाषायाः वेदः इति कथ्यते. Now this composition Tirukkural, this is a collection of poems Tirukkural. Now this is said to be the Veda, the equivalent of a Veda of Tamil, of the Tamil language. Vedas are written originally in the Sanskrit language. So it is said to be an equivalent, or it is given as much reverence as the original Vedas are given. Asya praneta Tiruvalluvaraha vartate. The author or the poet of these set of poems is Tiruvalluvar. प्रथमशब्दादि अस्य कालः प्रथमशताब्दी अस्य कालः स्वीकृतः अस्ति. The first century is said to be the age of the date of composition. प्रथमशताब्दी अस्य कालः स्वीकृतः अस्ति. It is accepted. धर्मार्थ काम प्रतिपादकोऽयं ग्रन्थः त्रिषु भागेषु विभक्तः अस्ति, विभक्तोऽस्ति. Now what is the nature of the composition of this scripture? Dharma, artha, kama, the three fundamental desires or purposes of the existence of a human. Purushartha, that is called the effort of the man or the effort of the human, is divided actually fourfold: dharma, artha, kama and moksha, right? Of those four, these three, dharma, artha and kama, are what form the major core of the Tirukkural, the scripture called Tirukkural. That is what is being discussed in the coming suktis also. Dharma, artha and kama. So dharma is ethics and morality and how you should behave in a society. What are your duties? What are your rights? All of that is dharma. Artha is how are you going to make a living? What are the methods you're going to employ to get a living, to make a living? How are you going to earn money? And how much of that goes to tax? And what is the revenue? Where are you investing? All of that is artha. So that is generally economics, finance, microeconomics, all of that is artha, dealing with money. Kama is pleasures, all sort of pleasures. So what are you using that money for? You're using it for entertainment, for your survival, for eating, for going to a bar, etc. So that is kama. And it need not just only signify lust, but in its generic term, it signifies all pleasures or all attractions, all wantings of the mind are called kama, where you're going to use the earned money, artha, which is gained through dharma, which is gained through moral, fair, right means. So that is dharma, artha and then kama. So it is, we have never said you not to enjoy your life, which is why kama is put as one of the four purposes of human life. So kama, you have to enjoy your life. And it need not just be, as said, just physical love. It can be mental entertainment, it can be psychological, emotional well-being. All of that is kama. Then, so Pratipadakaha, this is what is being discussed in this grantha. Trishu bhageshu vibhaktaha asti. So hence, since it deals with three things, it is obviously divided into three parts. Tiru shabdaha Shri Vachakaha asti. Now, what does this Tirukkural mean? Tiru in Tirukkural means Shri Vachakaha, Shobhana Vachakaha. Well-being is Tiru. Like you say in Sukti, Su signifies goodness. So that is Tiru in Tamil. Shri Vachakaha asti. अतः तिरुक्कुरल शब्दस्य अभिप्रायः भवति श्रिया युक्ता वाणी. So what does Tirukkural mean? Tirukkural means Kural is maybe Vani is a saying like Ukti, which is which comprises Shri. Shri is auspiciousness, goodness, well-being, humanitarian view. That is called Shri. So Shriya Yukta Vani, that sayings or proverbs, which is formed by using Shri or auspiciousness, which is based on Shri, is Tirukkural. Asmin granthe manavanam krite जीवन उपयोगी सत्यम सरसबोध गम्य पद्यैः प्रतिपादितम अस्ति. What does that mean? Take a moment to understand that. अस्मिन् ग्रन्थे मानवानां कृते जीवन उपयोगी सत्यम सरसबोध गम्य पद्यैः pratipaditam asti. Now pratipaditam, again you have seen here, it means it is being explained. So this scripture, this collection of poems, asmin granthe, what is explained? Manavanam krite, for the sake of mankind or womankind, whatever be the gender, jivana upayogi satyam, the truth, which is upayogi, which is useful for jivana, for living. Jivana upayogi satyam. How is it explained? Sarasa bodha gamya padyaihi. Sarasa is with a lot of rasa. Rasena sahitam iti sarasam. With the when you say it in an encapsulating, precise, concise, and enticing way. That is sarasa. Bodha gamya, which is easy to understand. Bodha is knowledge or understanding. Bodha gamya is which is easily understandable, readable. Padyaihi, through poems, as a set of verses, stanzas or shlokas. Pratipaditam asti. So it is described that way. Let us see the first shloka. Pita yachhati putraya balye vidyadhanam mahat pitasya kim tapaste epe ityuktistat kritajñata. Pita yachhati putraya balye vidyadhanam mahat pitasya kim tapaste pe ityuktistat kritajñata. Pita balye महत विद्याधनम पुत्राय यच्छति. यच्छति अर्थात ददाति, gives. Who? Pita, father, gives to the son in his childhood the great wealth of knowledge or education. So Pita yachhati mahat vidyadhanam putraya balye. Did you understand that? The father bestows the great wealth of education onto his son, or maybe here daughter, because it is given in the generic sense, to his children in their childhood. Right? That's pretty obvious. Every parent does that. Now, what is the significance of this? Mahat Vidyadhanam. He gives the great wealth. Now, education is said to be wealth because, for one, you can earn wealth later by using your education, your degree, your diploma of that, or by using your skill set. That is how you can earn a job and earn a living. Another way is because it is the greatest wealth which anybody can give. Vidyadhanam sarvadhana pradhanam. Because once you give the knowledge or the education to a person, he can take care of himself. If you give the appropriate skill sets, you give him some virtues and ethics and moral code of conduct, and then give him some opportunities, he can go looking for more opportunities and he can get a living out of it and lead a good independent life. As compared to if you just give him some money as it is, or if you just feed him once a day, or maybe once in your when you see him on a street, a beggar on the street, that is also good, that is also charitable, but it is not said to be as effective as vidyadhana, okay, or vidyadana. So vidyadhana is vidya eva dhanam. Knowledge or education itself is the greatest wealth, and this is bestowed by the father. In the olden days, Pita, the father, used to give the education, but nowadays the father arranges the wealth for us to go to our schools, to our tuitions, and he pays this administration fees and buys us books, uniform, socks, shoes, etc. All of that. So he takes care of the monetary aspects of education, which facilitates us to get that education and grow from within and increase our mental and intellectual abilities, which as a byproduct will lead us to getting a good job, a respectable um, job in the society. In fact, all jobs according to me are respectable, but you should be satisfied with your job. That is what I meant by a respectable, lovable job. पिता अस्य किं तपः तेपे इत्युक्तिः तत् कृतज्ञता. Now, what is the gratitude? What is the what is the gratefulness that we can show to this father who has arranged, who has sacrificed a lot for sending us to schools and getting us literate and educated? What is that? How do we repay him? What is the debt that we can repay? Is tat kritajnata, tasmai kritajnata, tatra tasmai iti pitre, to the father, kritajnata. So how do we show our gratitude to him, to our father? Is when iti uktihi is when a person praises us. Asya pita kim tapah tepe. When a person, for example, let's say Sonu is the putra here. Sonu, the father invested a lot of money on his child, Sonu, to send him to a school and get a good education, and then with a lot of taking loans from banks or from his landlord, he could somehow get him to a university, Sonu. And there Sonu performed exceedingly well and got a great degree with a grade A or A plus, and he graduated. He got a very good job. He became a notable figure in the society. So then, what would people say when they look at this young, maybe a person of 30 years? They would say, Asya pita kim tapah tepe. Really, how much this father would have toiled for getting him into such a good position. Now, this praise itself, this indirect praise itself, is the gratitude that a father seeks, the token of reverence and gratitude that any father would seek. He doesn't want to ask that much of amount of money back from the son when he grows, when he is independent. The father never asks for the say X amount of X rupees of loan that he had actually borrowed to send him to school. Never does a father ask that way. So the only kritajnata that he seeks is when a person praises the person in discussion, which is putra ex Sonu, as pita asya kim tapah tepe. That's it. That is all father really wants. Next, avakrata yatha chitte tatha vachi bhavedyadi तदेवाहुर्महात्मानः समत्वमिति तथ्यतः. अवक्रता यथा चित्ते तथा वाचि भवेद्य तदेवाहुर्महात्मानः समत्वमिति तथ्यतः. अवक्रता यथा चित्ते तथा वाचि यदि भवेत् तदा अथवा तत् एव आहुः तथ्यतः महात्मानः समत्वम इति. Now here is what is being discussed here. Now the first stanza I hope is understood. Second stanza here, the second verse speaks of samatvam. What is samatvam? Now we have heard of this yogastha kuru karmani, samatvam yoga uchyate, and all of that from the Bhagavad Gita. Now what is this samatvam that many rishis, even maybe the Nath Sampradayas, they also say of samarasya, samatva, sahaja samadhi, etc. What is this samatva? What is this equanimity that they are speaking of? That is said by Mahatmana, the great people or the great soul beings or the great people have said, ahuhu, they say, tathyataha, with a lot of evidence, tathya, with a lot of authority and evidence, they have said that samatvam, what is samatvam, is as described in the first line. Yatha chitte avakrata तथा वाची भवेत् यदि तदा तत् समत्वम इति आहुः. So what does that mean? Yatha chitte avakrata. Now if the chitta, the mind or the subconscious mind, or maybe just the mind, entire mind of a person is avakrata, is without any you say crudeness, or if it is without any fluctuations. If the mind of a person is without any crookedness, avakrata, vakrata, avakrata asti chet, api cha vachi sa avakrata bhavet. Even in the speech, even in their language, that avakrata, that uncrookedness should be present, which means they should not mince their words. They should speak the truth, the honest truth when desired. And if they speak, it should be the truth. That is how their watch or walk speech should be. Avakrata yatha chitte tatha vachi bhavediti. So there are two conditions. First of all, the chitta should be avakra. The mind should be pleasant. It should be without disturbances and fluctuations and without any crookedness, or without any without any desiring any ill harm to others. And second, that crookedness should flow into their speech also. So it should not be that they blabber something out in their conversations and they claim to be avakra in their minds. That doesn't work that way. So they should bring down that avakrata, that non-crookedness and lack of sarcasm, and just the desire to not hurt others, ahimsa. That avakrata should come even in their speech, even in their conversations. Only then tad, or it means tada eva samatvam iti ahuhu. Now that person who has achieved these two states is said to be in samatva, or the state of that mind is said to be samatva, is where it is equanimous. It's in an equilibrium. Tathyatah. Now they have said it with some authority because they have also experienced and gone through that process, these Mahatmas. And so they have said it with some authority. Next. Tyaktva dharma pradam vacham parusham yobhyudirayet parityajya phalam pakvam bhunkte pakvam vimudhadhihi. Tyaktva dharma pradam vacham parusham yobhyudirayet parityajya phalam pakvam bhunkte pakvam vimudhadhihi. धर्मप्रदां वाचं त्यक्त्वा परुषां यः अभिउदीरयेत् सः विमूढधीः यथा पक्वं फलं परित्यज्य अपक्वं भुङ्क्ते. Now what does that mean? Now who is a stupid guy? Okay, who's an idiot? Vimudhadhihi, or one who has whose intellect dhihi is vimudha, which is immature, which is confused, or which is still ignorant, which is, now who is such a person who has such a great state of intellect, which is vimudha? That is a person who dharma pradam vacham tyaktva yaha parusham abhiudirayet saha vimudhadhihi. So if he tyaktva vacham dharma pradam, if he does not consider, if he lets go, or if he does not wish to hear dharma pradam vacham, if he does not take into consideration the vacha, the advice given, which is which encompasses dharma, or which encompasses morality, as discussed before, righteousness and one's own duties and to the society. if such an advice which is born of dharma or which is derived from dharma, if that is not, if this person is not willing to listen to such an advice, and if he parusham abhyudirayet, if he wishes to listen or if he wishes to advise something which is parusha, harmful to others or to maybe to himself also. Parusham yaha abhyudirayet, if he first of all does not listens to dharmic advice, or if he doesn't even want to give such an advice, instead he actually takes to giving wrong, harmful advices to others, or if he listens to those harmful advices, what happens? He is called a vimudhadhihi. He is the person whose intellect has not yet matured and which is still confused and in a conundrum. Now, what is the example? What is the simile given? Parityajya phalam pakvam bhunkte apakvam. Now, this is just like a person who goes to a tree, and there are two kinds of fruit. One which is pakva, which is ripened. Other which is apakva. Here Avagraha says apakva, which is unripened. So when both of these fruits have fallen on the ground, this person who chooses to throw away the ripened fruit and instead eats the unripened one, the raw fruit, is as stupid as this person who gives up listening or who gives up advising that which is dharmic, instead takes to harmful and malevolent ways of speech. Now this is the simile or comparison drawn. Okay. विद्वांस एव लोकेऽस्मिन् चक्षुष्मन्तः प्रकीर्तिताः अन्येषां वदने ये तु ते चक्षुर्नामनीमते. विद्वांस एव लोके अस्मिन् चक्षुष्मन्तः प्रकीर्तिताः अन्येषां वदने ये तु ते चक्षुर्नामनीमते. विद्वांस एव लोकेऽस्मिन् चक्षुष्मन्तः प्रकीर्तिताः अन्येषां वदने ये तु ते चक्षुर्नामनीमते. Now here the poet, which is Tirukkuruval, how did I pronounce that? Yeah, Tiruvalluvar, sorry. Tiruvalluvar is, what is he saying? He says, in his opinion, that Vidvamsah eva loke chakshushmantah prakirtitaha santi. In this loke, asmin loke, in this world, Vidvamsah eva chakshushmantah iti prakirtitaha. Now, they are said, in my opinion, prakirtitaha, they are said, they are hailed as those people with eyes. Chakshushmantaha. Chakshushmat is the pratipadika. In Bahuvachan it becomes chakshushmantaha, like Hanumantaha, or you say Gunavantaha. Chakshushmantaha, prakirtitaha, bhavantaha. Now then, what the vidvamsaha, those who are knowledgeable, those who are scholars, those who are well educated, those who are literate, all of these are those who are experts in their particular fields of study. They alone are said to be those people with eyes, according to the poet. Now the poet is seemingly strange in such an opinion, in having such an opinion. Let's see what the explanation he gives. Obviously we see people, there are many people with eyes. There are many more people with eyes than without them. So then how does he justify that fact? Anyesham vadane yetu te chakshuhu namani mate. So the poet is justifying that the existence of those people with eyes as saying Anyesham vadane yetu. Now you're saying these people with, when you look out in the world, you see people, your father, mother, sisters, friends, colleagues, teachers, and maybe even dogs, cats, all of that, all of them have eyes, right? Yes. Anyesham vadane. Vadane means face. In the face or on the face there are eyes. For a spider it may have 6 or 8 or something like that. So then what are those ye santi, ye anyesham vadane santi or staha? Now those two eyes which are present in others faces, They are Chakshuhu Namani. They are just named Chakshuhu for the namesakes, right? They are just namesakes, and people have chosen to name those organs as Chakshuhu, and when they are not, in fact, truly those knowledge of eyes, I mean the eyes of knowledge. Here, Chakshushmantaha is the eye of knowledge. That is possible only when you are a scholar or an expert in your field, whatever it be. Vidvamsah eva chakshushmantaha. So the poet Mate, here Mata means opinion. Now that is said to be the poet claims it is my opinion that the eyes that you see generally around the world is just a namesake. It does not function anything. It does not function in any useful way. The only true people with proper eyes are those who have the eye of knowledge, and hence it is only possible with vidvamsah, those who are educated and scholarly. And it doesn't mean just that you have to be educated through a school, learning ABCD and all of that. Vidvamsah, it means one who knows. One who knows what he does. That's it. Even a farmer can be called a Vidvamsa if he does his job well. So the point of this is not just to praise the erudite class, but also to see to it that the reader, which is I and you, we see to it that we are well educated and we know what we are doing. It should not be a mechanical way of life, which is what the poet might want to suggest. Next class we shall see the remaining four. Dhanyavadaha.